China's foreign policy is based on this goal of creating a new world order.
People who grow up in China, we are so allergic to this type of narrative because we know firsthand what they truly mean by a shared future. My name is Lu. Welcome to my channel. Before we get into today's video, please remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Otherwise, you won't see me again. Let's get into it.
So China's foreign policy is based on this goal of creating a new world order. Xi Jinping describes it in the papers that he has written. And here's the phrase. He envisions a community of common destiny for mankind. Okay. What does that say to you?
Communism.
Okay, so you got it immediately. Your hair is like common destiny for mankind. So this phrase, eventually, I guess they did A/B testing and they're like, oh, it recalls manifest destiny. And so they changed it. They're like, okay, maybe it's alarming people that were expansionist. So they changed it to the community with a shared future for mankind. And I think there are two kinds of people in this world. One that react like you, where your hair stands and you're like, shared future. Like
all of us are equally poor.
Okay, it might be hell. Hell may be our shared future, in which case I don't want that.
Right.
But then there's kind of like woke, progressive, kumbaya, the world, let's coexist. And it appeals to their empathy circuits. This is a phrase, shared future for mankind.
It's totally
unity.
Marxist.
It is, but it is a utopian feel-good TED Talk that appeals to Western ideals, right?
I don't know if you guys remember, one of my most viral videos on YouTube is my reaction to a Harvard speech that is heavily criticized, ironically, by people in China and outside China. And she repeated in that speech exactly the same phrase, right? And it got a round of applause from people in the West, particularly those who are left-leaning. People who grow up in China, we are the other type, like Melissa Chen here described. We are so, allergic to this type of narrative because we know firsthand what they truly mean by a shared future. But my worry is that people in the West have not experienced something like this. So they fail to make that connection. They fail to understand the true intention behind this rhetoric. And we have hundreds, thousands of years of history where the emperors, the dictators, while they were committing crimes against humanity, their literature is all about peace. Their literature is all about this type of unrealistically peaceful world that just kind of dazzles people. People are, because who doesn't love a peaceful world where everybody has their own place and everybody is getting along? It is so intoxicating. And you want to believe that, right? And it worked for thousands of years for the emperors in China because it's human psychology, and it works right now.
So what do you think the CCP actually wants? They want a shared destiny across the world? They want communism around the world? Is that what they're looking to do? When you say that they're encroaching via the culture, via education, via even soft military, by buying areas around U.S. bases in the United States, by placing politicians, what is it that they're looking to do? Is it like what Michael Pillsbury talks about with the 100-year marathon to come after America? Do they want to take over? Is that the claim?
So when they say something like shared future, what they're asking for now is multipolarity. And so you hear that discourse. They would say that at Davos, the foreign minister would say that in public speeches, Munich Security Conference. They make appeals to shared governance. Shared governance is just the United States has been leader of the free world, the sole superpower of the world. And so China's appealing when they say shared future, common destiny. At first, it sounds like multipolarity, right? When Tucker Carlson says we're going to have to share power with the Chinese, he's buying into what they're selling. They want a multipolar world. But if you think about the word multipolar, that just means U.S. decline. It's just a very polite way of saying that the U.S. is going to have to decline, we're going to have to rise. But then the question is, if you have two systems, you know what the Chinese system is about. You see how they're running their world. You see how they're using their values to shape other countries to abide by its norms. when it has links to, through the Belt and Road Initiative, it's investing in a lot of infrastructure in Africa and things like that. Why is it that the Taiwanese president all of a sudden couldn't fly to Africa? Because China's weaponizing its economic ties to these African countries. We invested in your highway. We invested in your rail system. Don't acknowledge the Taiwanese presence. So they can...
Very good point. I've debunked this concept quite a few times. I think most people, when they hear about this phrase, a multipolar world, they think about a world that is fairer, that is equitable, right? Especially for people in Europe and Canada who have this attitude of, we don't like the US, they're terrible. I think it's so smart. I have to give it to the Chinese Communist Party. And by the way, this is not some sort of novel concept that was suggested by China or Russia. This concept was actually coined about 15, 20 years ago. But because of the effort by Russia and China, the world has taken on a sort of Marxist echo. And I think for people like Hassan Piker, the reason that they're buying into this concept is because it pretends that this is about anti-colonialism. This is about countries removing their oppressors. And the oppressor is the United States. What's ironic is Russia, which loves to use the word multipolarity, is a former colonial power itself. And the occasions where Russia initiated that word is when they illegally annexed Ukraine. They say this is about a multipolar world. So it's not that the concept itself, a multipolar world, is bad, but just how they are weaponizing this seemingly neutral concept. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing fairer about this world that they're imagining. But it's deceiving, right? And it really does appeal to people's empathy. Oh, look at all these underdogs. Maybe we misunderstood them. Maybe they're not that bad. Maybe they just want a seat at the table. But what would they bring to the table? It is not freedom. It is not more wealth for more people. It is actually the opposite. It's contraction of freedom. It's more oppression and less wealth for you, more wealth for the dictators.
So imagine what a Chinese-led world order would do, right? And whether or not a US-led system of openness, all these things that we like with free market individualism, can that coexist with a Chinese model?
Well, it doesn't really sound like the CCP really wants to share anything. I think they're just trying to have the U.S. retreat from the world stage so they can be at the same level. But from what you're describing, it's hard to believe that they would actually stop there. It's just the next step, right?
But I think here, rather than talking about whether this world should be led by the US or China, I think what the real argument here to be made is, do we want this world to be freer and more democratic, or the opposite? Because when China says screw the US, what they're really trying to say is screw democracy. They do not want a fair world. That's a world that every dictator on this earth hates. They want a less fair world. That's where they thrive, right? They want more control. They don't want to play by the rules. They don't want check and balance. They want limitless power that can satisfy their greed, bring them wealth. And I'm so worried that we're going into a more authoritarian world